Okay, for the measurement for the bottom turned out to be 10 inches long, so I'm going to cut out a whole bunch of about 4 strips that ought to do it that are 10 inches long each. Now, depending on what size backpack you're making, the bottom measurement will probably be either smaller or larger, depending on what it is, on the size backpack. So just make sure that you take the measurement correctly, and then you're going to cut out a bunch of strips that are the same length as that bottom measurement. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick the first two together here. And hopefully by now you have some idea of how to stick duct tape together effectively, because you've been doing it the whole time for the backpack. Take the third one here, overlap it by just a little bit. Take it over. A few little battle scars on there. Put it on the bottom here. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pan up for a second, and you're going to see where the backpack is hanging out. And basically what you're going to do is you want to make sure this sheet here can connect on the top and the bottom, and it's a little bit larger on the sides. That'll work. So you want to make sure that it can connect on the bottom here, and that's exactly what you're going to be doing on the bottom here, just connecting this sheet on the sides and the top and bottom. Okay, so to connect this sheet, you're just going to cut out 2 strips of tape that are the same length as the sheet that you already made. You take your first one, come down here, put about half of it on the top of the sheet here and half of it on the surface that you're working on. Stick it down. You're going to line it up on the top here and make sure that it stays on. Wrap around the sides a little bit. And what you're going to do is flip the whole thing over. And I have the books inside still just to give it a little more stability. Give me an idea of what it's going to look like. So make sure that's all stuck down. You're going to fold it back up just like this. Make sure it's good tight, which shouldn't be too hard to do because the books are still in there. And then apply this sheet on here, this strip, half of it on the bottom part and half of it on the actual backpack. Okay, so that connects the bottom flap. The next thing you're going to do is take 2 smaller pieces of tape here and just wrap them around the sides here, and that'll seal up these 2 holes on the sides. So do that now. So after you seal up the sides here, you won't be able to have those holes on the sides there anymore. And now what I really would recommend you do at this point is that to reinforce the bottom of the book bag here, because that's where most of the weight is going to be put on when you throw your books in. So if you have like any professional grade duct tape or just a higher quality tape, you can use that. Also, if you happen to have any Gorilla tape around, you can definitely use that. This is like super duct tape. You can get it at most craft stores, and Walmart sells it too. And it's basically like really tough duct tape, and you can use it to reinforce any parts of your book backpack. So if you have that, that's the perfect tape to use. That's what I'm going to be using to reinforce this thing eventually. So definitely make sure that you do reinforce it though, whether it be a higher quality tape or a Gorilla tape or something like that, because these parts of the book bag, the backpack, excuse me, are going to have the most stress put on them. Okay, so your next step is you're going to work on the flap that's going to go over the top of the book bag. Now, to do that, you're going to be doing a step that you've been doing all along. You're going to take a whole bunch of strips, stick them together, overlap them, until you come up with another sheet of tape. Now, if you remember, the bottom of the backpack was measured to be 10 inches, so you're going to do the same thing for the top because the exact same dimensions, just the other side. So for this, I cut out a whole bunch of strips that are 10 inches long. I stuck the last one on there so that there's some sticky side there showing. And I'm going to come up to the backpack here, just like that. I'm going to stick it, if you look inside there of the books, the bottom of the bag is at the other end, back there. And I'm just going to line it up here and stick it right on, curve it on the sides. Just like that. Make sure it's all good and stuck on. And then this will flip over just like this. And that'll be the top of the backpack, and I'll bring it down here so you can get a better idea what it looks like. Now obviously this flap is kind of short, but if you want to, you can make it come all the way down to here. You just have to apply more strips. So that's how to do the top part of the backpack there. Okay folks, we're coming down the home stretch here. The last thing you want to do is make the straps for your backpack. So to do that, you're just going to take a whole bunch of strips that are pretty much any length you want. The longer that you make the strips, the easier it's going to be, the less fewer strips you're going to be able to stick together. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a whole bunch of long strips, you're going to stick them together just like this. So there's your first two. So you scoot this down, you take a whole bunch of more strips and you apply them so they keep going in a line straight across. So that's how you make your straps. So to do that, that's a real simple process. That's all you're going to do. And what you're going to do is make it to the same length that you want over your shoulder. So when you get it to the right size, sling it over your shoulder, make sure it's good and tight, and then connect it into a giant loop of tape. Now I'm going to show you how I connect it to the actual backpack. I'm going to show you my prototype bag here. And this is basically what it looks like when it's all done. So here's the loop of tape here for the strap, okay? So it's one big loop of tape. Now I connected the one piece of the loop right here onto the actual bag, and you actually see there it's actually this small little piece in the center. I have two strips of tape that are reinforcing that on either side, and I also have some Gorilla Tape here which is stuck where the actual strap is connected to the bag, and that'll actually prevent it from like ripping out, because it's got all those pieces of tape stuck on there, preventing it from coming out. And it's like that on all four sides, all the points that is connected to the actual backpack. So once you get all these straps put on, you just throw your books in there, put it on, and you're ready to go. So I hope you all enjoyed this backpack tutorial. It took me a long time to make the backpack, a long time to film this, but hopefully you all enjoyed it and have fun making it. So take care.